What would you do if the very place that's supposed to keep your money safe treated you like a criminal for having it? This isn't just a story about money. It's about respect, restraint, and how truth exposes prejudice in the quietest way possible. Before we continue, welcome to Voices Unchained. If stories like this hit home for you, tap that like button, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Let's see how far these stories travel. Paul Freeman walked into the bank just like anyone else. It was late morning, calm, routine. He approached the nearest teller's desk, nodded politely, and said, "Good morning. I'd like to make a deposit." The teller, a white woman named Darcy Wells, gave him a slow once-over, her expression shifting from polite to skeptical. "This desk," she said, voice dripping with condescension, "is for business clientele. The regular line is out there." Paul's tone didn't waver. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." He sat, opened his bag, and laid out several bundles of cash. The sound alone drew glances from nearby customers. Darcy's eyes widened. "Where in the world did you get this much money?" she asked sharply. Paul looked at her evenly. "From my business." That wasn't enough for her. "Well, I'll need to see some ID." He noticed she hadn't asked the man before him for one, but he didn't argue. He simply handed her his driver's license. Darcy frowned, squinting. "This yours?" "Yes," he said calmly. "I'll need another." Paul frowned. "Why? What for?" "It's standard procedure bank for whenever I suspect suspicious activity," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "Suspicious? Really?" Still, he took out another, an old Stanford University ID. Darcy smirked. "Stanford? You expect me to believe you went to Stanford?" Paul said nothing. "Do you have a passport? Something more official?" she pressed. "Why would I carry a passport to a bank?" he asked. Her tone hardened. "Mary, come over here a sec." Another teller stepped in. Darcy shoved the Stanford card toward her. "Does this look real to you?" Mary examined it and nodded. "Yeah, looks legit." "Thanks," Darcy said coldly. "You can go." Then, with that same dismissive look, she turned back to Paul. "I'll need to count this." Paul nodded slightly. "Go ahead." As the machine buzzed, he quietly slid something else across the counter, a check. Darcy froze mid-count. $20,000? She muttered. "What are you doing with this kind of money?" Paul's voice was calm but firm. "That's none of your business now, is it?" Her eyes flicked to the signature line, P Prime Capital. Her tone sharpened. "You actually expect me to believe you work there?" "I don't just work there," Paul said slowly. "I own it." Darcy laughed, the sound sharp and mean. "Right, and I'm the Queen of England." Paul sighed. "You can call the company if you want." She rolled her eyes. "Or I can just call security." Paul stood. "I'm done. Give me back my cash and my check." Darcy pressed a button under her desk. Moments later, a large black security guard entered. "Everything okay?" he asked, glancing between them. Darcy pointed accusingly. "He handed me a fake ID and tried to cash a fraudulent check." Paul's patience broke. "You profiled me and now you're lying." Darcy's voice rose. "Typical. You people always do this, using race as your get-out-of-jail-free card. I know a criminal when I see one." The guard looked disgusted. What if he's telling the truth? Paul looked Darcy straight in the eye. "You said I didn't go to college, but not only did I go, I graduated top of my class, and that company name you just mocked? I built it." She laughed again. "Sure you did." Paul folded his arms. "Then call the number." Darcy sighed dramatically, picking up the phone. "Yes, I have someone here trying to cash what seems to be a fake check. Can you connect me to the owner of P Prime Capital?" Seconds later, Paul's phone rang. He smiled, showing her the screen. "You see?" Darcy's confusion spread across her face. "What? I don't understand." Before she could, a voice echoed from behind. "Paul, good to see you again." It was the branch manager, Stephen Hall. Darcy turned, stunned. "Sir, you know this man?" Stephen looked at her like she'd lost her mind. "Of course. This is Paul Freeman, CEO of P Prime Enterprises, our biggest donor." Darcy's face drained of color. Paul folded his arms. "She called me a criminal, Stephen, all because I didn't fit her picture of a business client." Stephen's jaw tightened. "You did what?" Darcy stammered. "Well, can you blame me? Look at him." That was the end of it. "Security," Stephen said sharply. "Escort Miss Wells out of this building. She's done here." The guard nodded, motioning Darcy toward the exit. Her protests echoed across the marble floor as customers turned to stare. Paul just stood there, silent, composed. "If you think Paul handled that like a king," Hit the like button right now and comment what you would have done in his place. Stephen turned back to Paul, shaking his head. I'm so sorry, Paul. You didn't deserve that. Paul smiled faintly. Just make sure no one else does. He picked up his bag, nodded, and walked out. No raised voice, no anger, just calm, earned dignity. Because sometimes silence carries more power than shouting ever could. That day, everyone in that lobby learned something. Never judge a man by his clothes, his color, or his calm, because the person you look down on today might be signing your paycheck tomorrow. If this story made you feel something, show some love. Drop a comment if you believe respect should never depend on appearance. And don't forget to subscribe to Voices Unchained, where real stories speak louder than prejudice.